Literally right now, Mangione is starting to speak, according to our team there. We don't have much about what's being said, but I can just tell you the first words we're hearing out of his mouth after answering a series of questions, saying yes and no to various questions. After years of enduring severe pain with the back and witnessing the healthcare system, on December 4th, I went to an investor conference, specific location that was not publicly disclosed. The judge interrupts, "I can't hear you," and he continues to speak. We don't have any more than that right now, but this is certainly going to be perhaps the most captivating part of this, is actually hearing Mangione say what happened as he prepares to lay out this guilty plea. Leading up to this moment, the judge has been asking a series of questions over the course of several minutes. First, trying to better understand sort of his state of mind and make sure that he's in condition, asking, have you been treated for addiction, any drugs, alcohol, or pills in the last 2 days? And Mangione said, I took sleep medication. The judge following up to make sure, is your mind clear? Are you okay? And the judge determining that he felt he was okay, that the defendant was fully competent to enter the plea at this time. And then just making sure he understood what he was giving up by entering this plea here, understanding that if there was a trial, he could object to certain evidence, that he would have the right to testify or not to testify. And a key moment that came down in just the last few moments here, right before Mangione started to speak, was the judge saying, I have this letter from your attorneys that was given to the prosecutor. He asked him if he'd seen it and discussed it. The government saying 292 to 365 months imprisonment is what's listed in that letter. So that's 24 to 30 years here. Those are the government's guidelines. They're not binding. Most importantly, they're not binding for me. In the end, the judge is going to come up with the range on what the sentence is for these charges, saying I may agree with them, I may not agree with them. And he wanted to make sure Mangione understood. Has anyone made any promises to you? Mangione saying, no, no one has made any promises to me about that. So we continue to hear Mangione speaking about traveling to Manhattan, saying he had emailed United Healthcare leadership, posing as an investor with millions in assets, saying he received a response before traveling to New York. He used a 3D printer to make this gun and silencer. A reminder, this was a ghost gun here. He emailed United Healthcare with the intent to shoot Brian Thompson on the morning of December 4th. He says, I shot Mr. Thompson in Manhattan in the back. I understood my actions would place him in fear of death and bodily injury. I knew what I was doing. And those are the last words we've heard so far.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.